And we are live. Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 22 of Talking Tech. My name is Dom. I am your host, and I forgot the name of this title. Oh, Quick Charge, Cheap Phones and Soldables. There's a reason for that title. We'll get to that later on. Joining me, as always, I have Mr. Mark Ramos and Christopher Wallace. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, piss off. Sorry.
Well, I hope that wasn't directed at me, but, you know, it happens.
Hey, Hangouts, don't we all love it? Because it always works perfectly, smoothly. Yeah.
The thing was, I closed all of my Chrome tabs.
I think I have about 30 Chrome tabs open at the moment, and it seems to be working fine. Anyway.
I closed everything, and now I'm trying to find everything again.
So, should we just start with the first topic on the rundown?
Yes, because I think the first topic we should probably deserves about a good 30 seconds worth of time.
I don't know what that is. I can't remember.
So, the first topic is, so we all remember Benson Long, the Google engineer who's been testing USB Type-C cables to find out which ones are safe, which ones aren't, which ones are wired improperly and will fry your £1,500 laptop, which is something that literally happened to him. He says devices with Quick Charge 3.0 are things he would not recommend because one of the power states that Quick Charge 3 uses goes out of the safe recommended USB power delivery spec. So the USB power delivery spec essentially states don't go above 5 volts. You can have a different amount of amperage, but don't really go above 5 volts. And I believe Quick Charge 3.0 has 9 and 12 volt versions, I think.
Something like that.
At least 9, and I think 12 as well. But basically what it is Qualcomm have responded saying it's up to the device maker, but Quick Charge 3 can be made to not go above 5 volt. So Qualcomm saying it's not an issue, and Benson saying it shouldn't be left up to the OEMs. Yeah,
essentially I think the story for me boils down to the spec for USB-C has basically just, let's face it, USB-C is pretty new, it's only just out, and already one company has decided, oh yeah, that global standard that everything's supposed to use, that every single device, from phones to laptops to tablets to you name it, is all going to use. Well, we're going to take that standard and ignore it.
Yeah.
So I say, Qualcomm, fuck you.
Yeah, no, I get it. The USB power delivery spec has been around for a couple of years. It's been kind of useless because the way USB worked, it couldn't really deliver that much, which is why shoddy cables weren't such an issue in the past. Now the fact that Type-C can deliver up to 100 watts, dodgy cables are a much more dangerous prospect. And I get the fact that Qualcomm has a lot invested in Quick Charge and the Quick Charge brand and stuff, but the USB-C power delivery spec 2.0 is a very good power delivery specification. It is very well rounded, and I personally think you should have to use it. I think if you're using USB-C, you should have to abide by a certain spec of rules, one of which should be the power delivery spec.
Yeah, I think it really needs to be the back in the old days, if you wanted to use the little icon, you had to conform. And I think this is basically just Qualcomm being, frankly, dicks. They're trying to do what American companies in particular seem to love to do, which is create a completely proprietary standard just for themselves. And it's...
Well,
I may understand why they want to use higher voltage. I do absolutely get that. The fact is, standards work because they're standards. They're on everything. The cables can be massively produced.
They're standard, strangely enough.
Yeah, this is why back in the day, the 2G standards, when possibly the best thing the EU has ever done, came out and said, right, we're all going to use GSM, that standard, that is what we're going to use, everybody is going to use it. The mobile market in Europe took off massively ahead of basically everywhere except Japan. Then you looked at the US, which had a completely fragmented system. They used 4 different technologies,
And they're
and
still fucked to this day.
yeah, it caused massive problems. They were massively behind for years, and essentially it took moving to a completely new standard that everyone
Which they
agreed
still
upon for
couldn't
them
agree
to.
on.
Well, more to an extent. I mean, it's just the
Yeah.
frequencies used for 3G that's a problem. But this it's just no.
The funny thing to me is, although Qualcomm love to say they created Quick Charge, it isn't actually a Qualcomm invention. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah, Qualcomm invented charging faster.
Yeah,
They
they
invented a thing,
they
and
just
gave that
slapped
a name.
they slapped a brand name on something that has existed. That's how S6 was allowed to use like Qualcomm Quick Charge chargers, because they use the same damn integrated circuits. They use the same ICs because they came out of the same factory, and they're the same fucking thing.
Yeah, Quick Charge, it's a branding issue. I mean, that's all it is. It's a marketing. You pump more power into device charges faster.
Like I said, I'm very excited to see the Oppo VOOC flash charging. So the current standard of VOOC is 5 volts, 4 amps, which is 20 watts. And that's fucking insane. The new version of VOOC, or VOOC, it's VOOC, I'm going to call it VOOC, is supposed to be able to fully charge a 2,850 milliamp hour battery in 15 minutes. And they say it's still running at only 5 volts, which means they're running at crazy high amperage.
Yeah, which is
because if they're doing 5 volts 4 amps now, and a 2800-ish battery is taking 60 to 70 minutes to charge.
Can I just predict now that if they are putting all that amount of ampage through some cheap ass, shitty cable that's come from China and cost 10p delivered,
well,
there will be videos on YouTube with these things bursting into flames.
Talking of cables...
Wait a sec, Chris. One of the things about VOOC is it actually requires a special micro USB cable. So micro USB cables actually have 5 pins, I think 2 for power and 3 for data.
Oh.
The VOOC chargers have 7 pins, and the head is actually a slight bit longer. It's completely interchangeable, but if you want to use VOOC fast charging, you need a 7-pin.
So what you're saying is that, they have also completely taken a universal standard and said, "Oh, let's do something different."
No, I think VOOC is actually a genuinely different standard, just because of how far advanced it is compared to everything else in the market. Because what Qualcomm and everyone else is doing is that they're ramping up the voltage as well as the amperage. Oppo seem to have actually genuinely done some kind of interesting engineering here. But like I said, you do need a special cable and a special plug, which makes it proprietary, and it is shitty, and I wish they'd license it out. Doesn't change the fact they have the best wired charging spec on the planet. I would love to get, what's it called, the Oppo F1 Plus, that phone with the 16 megapixel selfie camera. Not because it's got a great selfie camera, because apparently the fingerprint scanner is insanely fast. It makes the new iPhones look slow. And also it has the VOOC flash charging. So like I said, this entire story is the guy that... Well, that was weird. The guy that's been saying, be careful what USB-C cables you use, and who's literally lost thousands of dollars worth of hardware, is saying be careful with Quick Charge 3.0. And the people that make Quick Charge 3.0 are like, no, trust us, it's fine.
I was just going to say on the subject of cables, if you want some tested and proven to be fine USB Type-C cables, A to C, I've got a couple of these. I'm going to butcher this. Azorly, it's O-R-Z-L-Y. I got 4 of these in a black, white, this lovely blue, and some weird ass orange for £15, which works out about £3.75 each.
That's not bad. I got a 1 meter anchor cable, which is it's a USB 3 cable as well. It's a 1 meter USB 3 A to C cable, and I paid $5.99 for that.
Yeah.
I've got the A to C cable that came with the Huawei P9, and I don't know if this is going to work. It's a white cable, but yeah, it's too bright. I don't think it's gonna. Oh, there it is. You can definitely see where it's taken influence from.
Apple.
Yeah, no, like the headphones in the box
Can
are
I just
very
ask,
Apple-y.
the P9 that came with that cable, what color is it?
White.
Okay. I just
Well,
have an
it's
absolute
white.
pet
It's
peeve.
white, but in certain lights it could be gold. So
Okay. Well,
it's weird.
yeah, no, it's when you get like a black phone and you get white accessories with it
Yeah,
that
that annoys me.
drives me fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at 375 cable, you can't really complain, even well at all really, because that's a pretty damn good price.
Has anyone bothered to look to see if Amazon Basics has got their USB?
I
I've
don't
not
think
seen. I can
I haven't
honestly
seen one.
say I've not seen.
No, I haven't bothered to check. But
I haven't seen one yet. But pretty much, if you're looking at about £5-6 for a cheap certified USB 3 cable, USB-C cable.
Or
So
four
it's
for 15 quid.
yes, it's not a terrible price. It's nowhere near as dear as it was when they first came out early last year. But at least we know
well,
these
that's
are.
the joy of a standard is once you
Yeah.
start mass producing them, the price plummets.
Yeah. But it's like they're gonna go up again soon when. So this is slightly annoying. So the
I don't
USB,
think
the
it will
USB,
go up.
it will have to because the USB Power Delivery Spec 3.0 is coming out, which has the authentication,
Yeah, but
authentication, which either A requires active hardware in it, a la Apple cables, or B requires a certification program, which unless the USB-IF are shouldering the cost of that, they're going to have to pay for it. They're going to pass
yeah,
the cost
but
on.
I think that will easily be offset by the increased amount of production as more and more USB-C devices start hitting the market and
You
more
think?
people start buying them. Yeah.
Okay.
You produce anything in big enough numbers, and if you think how cheap normal micro USB cables are, once you get everything using them, not just phones, tablets, but laptops, basically anything that uses power,
I
they
can't
will
wait
be
till
dirt cheap.
I can't wait until I can get one of those Anker desktop power stations with a USB Type-C port in there, because that means I can have like I think it's 4 or 5 Type A ports and a Type C port that does fast charging. Because I can buy Type A to Type C cables, Type C to Type C, or I can buy Type C to micro USB cables, and that means even if I don't have a Qualcomm quick charger, I can still have a very fast charger. So like my Moto X Play uses a quick charger, but I don't have a quick charger. So if I buy a Type C to micro B cable, I can still fast charge it using that.
How
And
many times do you fast charge? How often?
It depends what time of the day it is and whether I forgot to charge it last night. The problem with the X Play is it's a huge motherfucking battery.
Yes, without I suppose you would. But I've had the 6P for however many weeks since it was Easter because that's when I purchased it. And I could honestly say I've only used a quick charge plug a handful of times.
Oh no, like for safety reasons as well, you shouldn't quick charge your battery
I've
too
always
often.
used the it was really short, really stupid one that came with it.
Yeah, no, the cable isn't really much of a thing. It's the plug that comes in the box.
Oh yeah.
The
But I was
so
just wondering how many times have you or how frequently do you quick charge?
again, it completely depends on the situation. If I'm charging something overnight, I actually trickle charge. So unless I'm using this like damn thing, the Huawei P9, which will essentially just refuse to charge anything under 1 amp. Um,
So do you
it
keep
refuses.
separate charging stations for fast and slow?
Yes. Yeah, I have 2 plugged in at my bedside table, and I turn the fast charger off when I don't need it. Because there's usually always at least one thing plugged in. So if I can afford to slow charge it just for the life of the battery, I will.
I'm gonna say the hub I've got, or whatever you want to call it, it uses I can't remember anchors. Is it anchor or rev power, whatever they call it? But they're
It's probably like a 2.1 amp charger.
yeah, it turns around and puts out the best output. That's
Yeah.
what I just end up using, and then end up waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, seeing everything's fully charged, just roll over at the switch and it turn the entire thing off, and then go back to bed.
Fuck waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, turn the fucking switch off. I just wait until it's fully charged in the morning.
Yeah, I normally do.
I'm
If I'm awake and I
I'm not
look.
I'm not wasting that much electricity. Leave it on for another 3 hours. Oh, fuck it.
Yeah, no. If I'm awake, I'll just like roll over and.
So am I the only person that just leaves everything plugged in all the time?
I mean, like I leave certain things plugged in all the time. I have an old Nexus 4 as essentially an alarm clock.
Oh, I don't mean the devices. I mean the charging sockets. Like I have 3 of the thing on desk charging blocks with multiple USB ports.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1 in the bedroom and 2 sitting on my desk.
Oh, I only turn the quick.
in.
I only unplug the quick charger because I need that spare port sometimes. Because I use a normal charger more than I use a quick charger, I can afford to unplug the quick charger. And like I said, most devices I have small enough batteries that even a slow charge is still relatively quick. So, like most things I have are in the 2 to 2500 milliamp hour range. So they don't take forever to charge anyway. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto how we spent 20 minutes speaking about that. Anyway, next up we have Project Loon, which was the internet delivering weather balloons from Google's X Labs, I believe. So basically, they are weather balloons that create a Wi-Fi mesh, or not Wi-Fi mesh network, but a mesh network that can beam internet down to remote places. So if you're in like a place where there's been a natural disaster and the phone lines have been struck out, so you can't get internet or something like that, they could deploy these balloons and then have like a short-term municipal broadband type thing.
Yeah.
One of them crashed in
Finally.
Chile. I mean, but like I said, I think it's the first one. It may be the second, but again, it's like it's still not a commercial thing for them yet. They're still testing it, and it was only one of them crashed down. So they didn't say it's irreparable either, which is important. So I just kind of I think it's kind of I think it's kind of interesting, and it brings an entire new meaning to the internet is down. So I quite enjoy it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible pun. I wish I had alcohol to blame it on. It's just painkillers this week. Do you guys have anything to say about this? I mean, like I like the idea.
I don't know why this is in here. It's not a story. Hot air balloon unexpectedly lands. Right. Okay. And what? So.
Well, it's not really a hot air balloon. It's essentially like. It's essentially like a drone hot air balloon / weather balloon thing.
Yeah, it
autonomously monitors its presence. It rises up, it drops down, it syncs with other ones.
But it's like, so what? I mean, do we report every time a drone falls out of the sky? No.
Depending on what it falls onto, into, or crashes into.
Did it fall on anything, or did it? Did it fall within 1,000 miles of anything interesting?
I don't remember.
Which means
probably not.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, okay, this thing that's not used.
It landed in a farmer's field.
Right. Okay.
It's about as least interesting as it could get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was landing controlled locally, ended with
Okay, now if it had landed like on the White House front lawn, okay, that might be like a story. But otherwise, it's like balloon that nobody uses for anything apart from Google to dick around and waste money.
I mean, like, so this is the second one. The first one crashed into a mint field in Washington a couple of years back.
Okay.
That was the one that caused power outages and stuff, that like hit power lines and stuff. This one they were able to bring to a controlled landing in some farmer's field in in the Chilean version of Los Angeles, also called Los Angeles.
Okay.
So like I said, it's mainly in here because it's Google.
Okay.
But I still think it's interesting the fact that like it's essentially like it's not mobile broadband, but it's still kind of like that. Do either of you have the next topic up in your thing? Or do you want me to speak about it?
Oh, kind of. Yeah, I had a look at it. Yeah, it's not an app that I use.
No.
Can someone explain what the app is?
Oh, it's a texting app. It's SMS, but I don't know if you're aware, particularly, I don't know if many people are, but aside from the stock SMS app here that comes on your phone, there are literally millions of them. Different ones.
Tons, absolutely tons.
Hangouts for me. That's what I use.
I use Hangouts. Google also make another one which only does SMS, which is called Messenger.
I couldn't understand that.
Because they're removing it. They're removing it from Hangouts. They've said.
If anything, you'd call it messaging though, not messenger.
Confused with Facebook, or is that what they're going for?
I assume that's what they're going for.
But yeah, either way, so this is a texting app. Aside from the fact that it seems to be highly skinnable and have lots of different theme colors, I don't see what's awesome about it. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. Essentially, they have recognized that people are pirating their app.
And they found out which people are pirating their app.
Yes, presumably to change themes and whatnot, the app must, contact Textra head office.
Yeah.
When it does so, they've realized that, probably realized that the same ID code, which will be pirated on, however many apps. So if you've got 10,000 phones with exactly the same ID code coming in, you know that's been pirated. And so it will flash up a message saying, please don't be a dick, please give us some money and buy it legitimately.
Yeah, so I've got the actual message here. So you get 3 warnings. So this one they've shown up on the screen says, warning number 2, pirated software. You are using an illegal, and illegal is in asterisk, illegal pirated copy of Textra SMS. This is a serious matter and it is our policy to report repeated violations. You have 3 days to install a legitimate version from Google Play, and there's a Play Store.
Yes. I would very much like a lawyer to get involved with me saying it's illegal.
Illegal with asterisks either side.
Yeah, they know this is.
I wish SMS enabled formatting so that I would actually make it bold. Oh no, that'd italicize it, wouldn't it? Asterisks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that they're pointing out the illegal, it's yes. Well, if Textra would like to come and show me which law makes it illegal and in which country said law is applicable. But anyway, it's still, it's a goddamn text messaging app. I mean, how much can it possibly cost?
I think it's like 99p.
Yeah, I mean, really.
I can't see it being much more than that.
Yeah, it's a texting app. I absolutely guarantee your phone came with a texting app. So if you cannot afford the $1 or 99 pence or whatever it costs, really,
Well, technically, your phone comes with 2 SMS apps.
Well, it may not, but I'm betting.
Oh no! He means it comes with your OEMs and it comes with Hangouts.
Yep. So
that it may be, but I don't know because OEMs might not necessarily include their own other than Hangouts.
Some of them do. Some of them are like Motorola doesn't. I don't think HTC doesn't more. Yeah.
The point is, there will be at least one. I absolutely guarantee every single Android phone sold on planet Earth has a text messaging app on it somewhere. So if you can't afford the goddamn $1 or whatever it is, really? I mean, really? Just I'm sorry, but they are right to call people dicks if they're pirating that.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, don't.
Yeah, this is not that you can't afford it. It's like, I remember back in the day there used to be lots of students, in particular, who would use pirate copies of a lot of Adobe stuff because it was expensive as fuck.
Yes,
really expensive. Nobody was going to be buying it.
Yeah, like
Okay.
you don't buy Photoshop when it costs you £600.
Yeah, but you know, if Photoshop cost 60 pence.
Everyone would buy it.
Well, but the point is, if you cannot afford, you know, the tiny, tiny, tiny price, then well, maybe just don't use the app.
How
Yeah.
about don't have McDonald's? Don't
That's
have
actually
McDonald's and that'll pay for it.
that's how I feel about a lot of things, especially like certain like media and stuff like that. Like, I know a lot of people just like pirate media, and it's like if I can get it somewhere like YouTube, and I've listened to it enough that I know I'll probably buy it. If I have the funds, I'll buy it because I'm getting something out of the artist. Like I won't just pirate films or like songs. Like I would rather just like buy the song or something like that. So should we just move on to the next one? Because I think otherwise we're going to get a bit pissed off.
Yes, I'd recommend it.
This next one is super cool.
It's for you here, Mark.
Huh?
It's for Mark, this one.
Oh yeah, no, because he's the only one of us that still has an Nexus 5.
Yeah.
So,
With the battery included, Mark, you could be really splashing it at the minute.
Whoa. Ooh, Nexus 5.
So, the Nexus 5 came out in
Dom, can
2013.
I just interrupt you for a second? I don't know if something's happening with your bandwidth.
I
But
thought
you
that was
sound-
just me for a minute.
Yeah, you sound like a Dalek.
How
something
badly
is-
like a Dalek?
Really, I'm about ready to throw the laptop out the window.
Yeah, is something uploading in the background, or?
I hope not, but I will unplug and you guys can speak about this. I'm not. I'll speak in Slack. Give me a second.
Okay, do you want to do this one, Mark, or do you want me to quickly cover it?
Oh, no, it's fine. I'll go over it. Essentially, somebody has modded their Nexus 5. And it's quite interesting, although it's a little bit esoteric. This is absolutely not something you're going to be doing yourself. In no way, shape, or form is this reminiscent of, if anyone remembers the old Dell Streak 5, its own onboard storage was actually just a micro SD card. So if you got the right ROM, you could literally swap the stock 16 gig one and throw in something considerably larger. What somebody has done with their Nexus 5 is they have desoldered the storage chip inside it, which that's relatively not so impossible to do. But then they have soldered on a new, bigger chip. So whilst this is kind of amazingly cool that somebody has done this, this is absolutely in no way, shape, or form anything you are likely to be doing. This is just not. But it's interesting the fact that somebody has done this, and it kind of, I think, raises the question, for me at least, of why do these chips need to be soldered? Why can't they simply be socketed?
Like a standard CPU on a PC.
Pretty much. Yep, something like that.
That style of
like a memory stick for inside your computer or CPU. Why must it be soldered? Why can't I open the thing up and swap the goddamn chip out?
Do I sound any better now?
Yes.
That's good. I'll probably be using this for a little bit. So, I kind of just caught the end bit of that. The reason, whoa, I don't know what that was. The reason that they're soldered a lot of the time is, this one especially is what's called BGA ball grid array. So if you see it,
oh, I do realise that there are slight space savings.
I mean,
there is technically a slight cost saving in.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say either of those. Having it BGA, it just takes out one of the transfer links. It just makes it faster. Like eMMC isn't the fastest as is. And you're taking out latency. That's pretty much the only reason. That's why we've seen some phones, like you said, the Dell Streak, whose only storage was a micro SD card.
Yeah, and I'm not advocating that phones should move to that. Simply that.
But no, I've spoken to OEMs, they pretty much just say speed.
Oh yes. I mean, However, there's no reason why that chip itself on the board couldn't be socketed rather than soldered. That would add no latency whatsoever. I mean, the aspect of changing and using a micro SD card, that is a completely different ballgame. And aside from the Dell Streak, I know of no phone that's ever done it. Partly because SD cards are slow.
All of the original Windows Phone 7 and 7.5 devices all only used micro SDs.
Really?
Yes.
Did not know that.
I remember because I had an HTC Mozart, which was exclusive.
I have to say it's something if SD cards were fast enough, and I suppose the more expensive ones can be, I would be quite happy and interested to see something Project Aura-like coming out where, you know, you maybe buy the 16 gigabyte version of your phone, but, you know, in a couple of years, you want to swap that out and throw in 128.
Well,
That would make sense.
Like, I could totally see using, what's it called? This guy bought a 64 gig eMMC 5.0, eMMC 5.0 chip to replace the eMMC 4.5 32 gig chip, which is all well and good. Kind of wish he would have gone balls to the wall and bought a 128 gig, because they're only about $50-$60.
Yeah, well, I don't really know looking at the price.
I've looked up how much they are, like per wafer and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder why he only went from a 32 to a 64, because if you are going to put the amount of work that this took to do physically to solder that, I mean,
like, if people don't know, the person that's done this is not something you do in an afternoon with your dad's old soldering iron. Like, BGA soldering, Bulgur array soldering, is nothing like you have ever tried ever before. The fact he even got this to work shows just how skilled this person is.
Yeah, I mean, physically, like, this is just physically incredibly difficult to do because they are small. Like, they are tiny. There's a reason machines do this, not people.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that, like, specifically their job is to, like, reflow BGA components. So I kind of want to buy a busted Nexus 5, find one of these people that does BGA reflowing, buy a 128 gig eMMC chip, and then see what it'd be like. Because you can also buy, like, batteries with experimental chemistry. I think Shen Yi, who now works for HTC on the Vive, with the old HTC One X days, he had an experimental lithium sulfur battery in his phone. Right? That's cool. And he said it almost like pretty much doubled the battery in that thing. So I was like, the Nexus 5 doesn't have a great battery. So,
no, it doesn't.
So it's like, if you replace if you replace the aging battery with admittedly experimental. I mean, it is a problem, but the fact it was just never great to begin with.
Aging is not the issue. The issue is it sucked from day one. It was a tiny battery. I'm convinced that when they released it, and was it the G3 at the time?
G2. Yeah, the G2.
Okay, go with G2.
I know because I've had
the reason that they want the LG one, the reason they gave it a reasonable battery was to encourage you to buy that and not the Nexus 5, which was considerably cheaper.
And having had and still owning both, I would never ever tell anyone ever to buy the G2. Apart from the fact the screen was more saturated, but that's pretty much about it. But no, like I said, this is not something you're likely to do yourself unless you are a very steady-handed electrical engineer.
Yeah, you have to be a Chinese 10-year-old to be able to do this.
Or to have one of those multi-$1,000 solder reflowing machines. But
in which case, you're not doing this to the phone anyway.
Yeah, and even then, it still doesn't naturally work. You have to adjust your ROM to. This phone never had a 64 gig option. None of the stock ROMs have a partition table for a 64 gig version. So he's had to create his own partition tables to make this work. So he's had to carefully dismantle his phone, incredibly carefully desolder the original eMMC chip, incredibly carefully resolder the new eMMC chip, reload Android, completely rewrite the partition tables, carefully load that onto that phone without breaking it, and then hope it all works out in his favor.
Not something I'll admit I can do. I have the concentration.
This guy has
Of a
bigger balls than all of us
goldfish.
put together. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't do this. I would never even contemplate trying it. It's
I'd
no.
I'd get as far as like taking it all off and looking at it under a microscope and then saying fuck it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the fact
at
that anyone did
point,
this is insane.
at that point, I start looking at Google for people that can do this for me.
To be honest, what I would have done is just looked at buying a different phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
I mean,
good.
If you are a die-hard Nexus 5 fan, and there are a lot of them,
Buy their 5X. Does it not come with a 64 gig version?
nope, the 5X is 16 and 32 as well.
Jesus Christ.
Um,
Who authorized that? Who okayed that? What series of people, successively said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. We should make a Nexus phone and give it like 16 gig. Oh no, 32, because nobody will ever want more than that. No.
this is coming from the same people that made an 8 gig Nexus 4.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who actually bought that one by accident.
How do you buy it by accident?
Because in the original days of the Play Store, Chris, it was a flaming pile of shit, and it doesn't always give you a confirmation for certain things.
Ah. Why
So,
don't you just send it back and ask for a refund?
because I was having too much fun playing with my new phone. Like, I ordered it day one, and I didn't get it until 7 weeks later, like almost to the day. Like, that was when the Play Store was like first starting. It's like, it was the first year. So the first year was when you could buy the Nexus 7, the original Nexus 7, the
Good
Nexus
tablet
10,
that was.
the Nexus 4, and stuff like that. So this is when the Play Store was brand new online, and Google had essentially no prior history in selling devices, and it buckled under pressure every time. But at least the store doesn't crash. At least the store doesn't crash anymore, and at least unlike Apple, they'd have to take the store offline for like 3 hours.
They managed that by filling the store with stuff nobody actually wants to buy. It's not that they got any better at the back end management. They just filled it with stuff nobody wants.
So in the end, did you get billed for the 8 or whatever one you ordered?
No, I got billed for the 8, but just because they don't say, is this the one you really want? Or they didn't say, is this the one you really want?
So they didn't overbill. They didn't overcharge.
No, they didn't overcharge me. They just didn't confirm that I wanted the 16 gig one and not the 8 gig one.
Oh, so it's not.
Oh, it's pretty much almost entirely my fault. So.
What do you mean pretty much almost?
Yeah,
You picked the wrong one.
Yeah, that's what I said. So, like I said, this hardcore son of a bitch just did the craziest shit to his phone. So not only has he doubled the storage, he's also put in a faster eMMC chip, which...
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
It will be noticeable. The speed difference will be noticeable.
Oh, I'm sure. But I don't know if you ever remember, it's the only thing that kind of comes to mind as being vaguely applicable. Do you remember some years ago now, do you remember the old Renault Espace?
Yes.
Okay. Renault moved into Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at some point, some time ago, Renault thought, wouldn't it be fucking awesome if we took an F1 engine and put it in a Renault Espace?
They didn't.
Oh, they did.
Oh, put this in Slack.
Right? Google it.
Put this in Slack.
Apparently it had a top speed of 186 miles an hour. Right? I think it was like 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or something.
So the world's fastest people carrier.
Yeah, although I think they took out most of the seats.
What did I see the other day?
They did stuff to it. But
I think someone put... Sorry.
I was going to say, it's that level of you've taken something otherwise reasonably moderate and sensible
and then just
done
slapped
something
something on it and made it so bizarre.
Yeah, just insane. You've modded it to a degree that no reasonable, rational human being would ever normally contemplate.
I think I saw some.
Nuts.
I saw something the other day that someone put the engine. I don't think it was an Audi R8, but it was that like level of like engine type. They put the engine of something big like that in a Volkswagen Lupo.
Oh.
And if anyone's ever seen a Lupo, there isn't that much space under the bonnet. And they just managed to fit this huge engine in.
Basically a bigger version of a smart car, but not by much.
Yeah, and there's this shoehorn this massive engine, and I don't know how it fitted in there. And when something is just like obnoxiously loud.
Oh yes.
It was one of those, and again, that's kind of what you said, Mark. That you've taken something that was otherwise relatively normal, being the Lupo, and you've
With
just
about
like
a 1 litre engine.
Yeah,
1.2 litre engine.
You've turned it up to 11, like shoved LSD down its throat and turned the rave lights on. That's what you've done.
Yeah, sorry, can I just throw in, just because this is insane, and I've now googled it, and so I've thrown the link in Slack.
There we go.
Yeah, the Espace F1 0 to 62, which is 0 to 100 kph, was 2.8 seconds.
Which is the same as a Tesla Model S P90D.
Not just that, though. It's 0 to 200 kph, or 0 to 124 miles an hour, was 6.9 seconds.
And all the way up to 194 miles an hour.
Yeah. Like, just holy fuck.
I want one.
Right? I mean, just holy... Like, it's something... It's just insane, frankly. I mean, that's just...
If I was Bill Gates,
money, I would buy one of these and I would drive it to Tesco's, right?
So, going back to the original article, this guy has bigger balls than all of us put together. You should never, ever, ever attempt to try this, and if you do, please write to me so I can interview you.
Yeah, you should not do this, and the fact that he did it, I mean, yeah.
So
I'm kind of inclined to think he must have like mental stability issues.
All the best people do, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know, but
so the Meizu is a name that's becoming slightly more notable in recent months, seeing as they release a new phone every month, it seems. Have released a new budget device, the M3.
Can I just chip in? I'm relatively sure, and I could be wrong, but this isn't a new phone. There was an M3 from Meizu. This is just they've changed the CPU in it.
No, I think this is new. Because they did the M2 and the M2 Note, and I think this is new. I do think this. If not, I'll write it in the show notes.
I could be wrong. I'm sure I read somewhere it was they, unveiled new M3 with changed CPU, but keeping the same price. And I remember thinking, they did what?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them if that's what they've done, but from what I understand, this is a new phone. So, 5-inch 720p IPS display, perfectly fine with me, to be honest. Octa-core MediaTek 6750 processor, which I think, it's going to be 8 A53s. 2 gigs of RAM, 13 megapixel rear camera, 5 megapixel front camera. They don't say what the battery is. Oh, yes, they do. 2870 milliamp hour battery, 16 gigabytes internal storage, and they do a plus version, I think. The plus version has 3 gigs of RAM, 62 gig storage for $201 extra. So one is $92 and the other one is $125. They're cheap. That's it. Like that's really the only reason they're in here is because they're brand new and they're cheap. Like $90 for a 720p octa-core device that isn't going to be shit, because very few Meizu devices are like genuinely shit, is surprising.
Sorry, are you perhaps confusing currencies? Is it not $90?
Yes. What did I say?
I think you said 70.
Oh, sorry. No, 90. I think it's $92 or something like that. So I'm quite interested. If I can get one of these into review, I'll see if I can. Though I have a lot at the moment, so if I get one, I might send it off to Mark or Chris. Just because I only have so many hands and so many SIM cards.
So many SIM
Yes.
cards.
So this next one's going to be. These next two are going to be super quick. Do you just want to run through those quick?
What we got?
I mean, I can say the next two if you want, because again, they're not going to take too long.
Yeah, well, I think the very next one, I think we should probably spend a total of about 10 seconds.
Okay. I can do that right now if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
So when the Apple Watch came out, it wasn't fully featured. About 6 months into its lifespan, they gave it the ability to run native apps. Apple is now saying from a certain time onwards, all apps must be native apps. That's it.
That's it.
And I think they've got until like June or something like that.
Yeah.
That's it.
So.
Job done.
Which isn't like doing much, because even native Apple Watch apps are still pretty shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they suck. Hardly anyone's bought one. I don't know. Oh, I do know someone that has one though.
I know two people that have them, but they don't wear them every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The fact is, the people who have them, they will not care about whether the apps are native or not. This might matter to the devs that have written some apps, but
this to me feels like the first gen of Android Wear watches, when people were cramming like launchers and calculators and games, and this is
not go wrong with a calculator on a watch. Trust me.
But this is to me, they need to be notification screeners and nothing more. That's perfect.
Well, that's fine.
Personally,
You can use it for that. But if somebody else wishes to use it for other things, I'm absolutely fine with that. I absolutely have zero objections to there being every app imaginable on it. If you want to sit and play Flappy Bird on your watch, well, why shouldn't you be able to?
Which Chris has on his watch.
I did. I took it off, and I'm now playing Space Invaders on my watch.
Okay. I mean, do you not just find that horribly battery destroying?
No. I play it, fail, and go, fuck it.
That's why it doesn't see much of a battery strain.
Because I play it for a bit, I do like 1 or 2 runs, get pissed off of it, slap it back on my wrist, because if anyone's tried playing it on the wrist, it kind of gets annoying. And then I go, fuck it, slap it back on the wrist, and then go and actually do something.
Yeah. Okay, so I say next story.
Yeah, so the next one is apparently very soon we are likely to see the Play Store show up on Chrome OS. Like the full Play Store, not just what they've done at the moment, which is a couple of apps here and there certified, and it's not the other thing what they did called Arc Welder, which is if you've got the APK, you can say I want a tablet version of this app at this resolution, blah blah blah. So this is the full-blown Play Store on a Chromebook. I have very mixed feelings about this.
I think it would be a
I'm
good
very
thing.
positive about this. I think this is basically, in all but name, making Chrome OS Android.
It's making Chrome OS what it should be to me.
Yeah, I don't want Chrome OS. I don't want a goddamn browser. I want Android on a Chromebook. I want an Android
browser with some apps, is how I see it. I want a standard browser with some basic apps like...
oh yes, you need a browser, but I don't want its operating system to just be a browser. I want its operating system to be Android, so I can have a browser and I can have other apps too. That's what I think this is essentially doing.
As someone who uses Chrome OS on a daily basis, and as someone who has also used Android laptops, Android 2-in-1s, like Android devices with large screens and keyboards, Android devices plugged into TVs with keyboards and mice, I don't want this. I have a feeling it could be okay. I think at the start it's going to be a mess, purely because there aren't things in the Play Store that are designed to scale to the screens like this. The way a lot of people use laptops and computers is they have Windows in full screen. These Android apps are going to like to be windowed, whether they be portrait or landscape apps, they're going to like to be windowed. I don't want to blow up the Twitter app to be full screen on a 11 or 13-inch laptop.
Yeah, that's going to be the
That's what
standout.
Remix is about.
I get what you. Yeah, but that's not what this is going to be, Chris. It's going to be something completely
But
different.
it's going to be native Chrome. But no, if they can do it in the same
Also-
style Remix does it, that would be cool.
It'd be interesting, and like I said, one of the reasons I'm also not too fond of this is Chrome OS has the full Chrome rendering stack, which is
Yes.
amazing. Android's version of Chrome is very, very different and not that great, even on really high-end hardware. Whilst
Yeah,
I'm
whose fault's that?
Pretty much Google's.
Yeah.
At this point, one of the few things I'm very happy about Intel on tablets being is Intel tablets are able to use the x86 version of Chrome, which has been in development longer than the ARM version has, which means it's a lot more full-featured. So you can get those like Dell or Asus tablets with Atom chips, which, whilst I don't think they're great at most things, if you spend a lot of time in Chrome, it's going to be great. Like I said, I think it's going to be great, and it's going to stop a lot of people saying like, "Oh, Chrome is useless for everyone." I think it's going to be tough at the start.
Yeah, and can I just, in case you were referring to me there, I don't think
No,
Chrome is useless for everyone.
not for you. There are a lot of people online who completely discount Chromebooks, saying for the same price you can buy a Windows laptop. And
Well, yeah, that's true.
But
And I
it's a
think
completely different experience.
Yeah, and I think if you're a normal consumer, if I was given the choice of a 200 quid Chromebook or a 200 quid Windows laptop, I take the Windows one absolutely every time. What I've always seen Chrome OS as being designed for is large companies and local government.
Yeah, it's the thin client dream come true.
It's your local health authority. When someone accidentally leaves the laptop on the train, none of your medical records have been lost because there's nothing on the laptop. All they've done is lose the laptop. That's what it's for. It's it's creating that thin client.
Yeah,
for
like I
staff
say,
to use, but they don't actually have the data there to screw up and lose.
Like I said, it's the thin client computing dream come to fruition is pretty much what it is. Chris, you might be a bit young to remember thin clients. Do you remember them?
I briefly remember the name.
Oh, you're so young, man.
Like most things, I briefly remember a name.
So to put it in as simple as way as I can pretty much say, thin clients were these very, very basic hardware-wise computers that would essentially stream everything from a main server. That is a very, very layman's way of saying it, but that's pretty much what it is. So like Mark was saying, like you give this to your local government worker, so they don't leave it on the London Tube like they have done in years past. But like, I don't know if you remember, Mark, the original Chrome OS adverts when the CR48 was a thing. They'd have like Google engineers in lab coats, and he'd make an invite on Google Docs, and like someone would pour liquid nitrogen in his laptop, and they'd take it away, and they'd bring him a new one. He'd open it up and start working on it again. Like it's like you're saying, they can destroy one laptop, but none of the data's lost.
Yeah, that's the kind of the key aspect of it, is the laptop just becomes a thing. It's a means of accessing it. If you lose it, you destroy it. It doesn't matter, because let's face it. Say you are a big company, the value of that laptop to you is maybe a few hundred. The value to the data that's stored on it, and don't forget, especially if you're saying like, TalkTalk found out, when you suddenly screw up and you lose
data's priceless.
Thousands of customer records, or some of the best cases that have happened, local authority, child services, like when they've done things like accidentally fax.
Lose a USB stick.
Yeah, lists of child under protection and whatever else it is.
All things which have happened.
Yeah.
Like people in witness protection, or the UK's equivalent, registered sex offenders, what's it called? Children in vulnerable, people in vulnerable positions that are under special care. These have all been, unfortunately, leaked, lost. A
Yeah.
laptop's been left on the tube, a USB drive's been left on the sidewalk, stuff like
Not
that.
to
It's all
mention,
happened.
not to mention medical records.
Oh, yeah. And like
I
I said,
mean,
like,
the NHS has done that so many times. So many local, what are they called?
constituencies,
No, for NHS, the
GPs.
local. No,
Oh,
health bodies, health authorities, or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, the amount of personal, customer records that have been lost, patient details. I mean, it's all kind of really serious stuff. And if these had been all Chromebooks, then no harm would have been done.
I mean, as someone who's had a parent work for the NHS in a hospital for working in the IT department, it is strikingly easy to like he was saying, it's strikingly easy if he was a vengeful employee, it would have been strikingly easy for him to take data.
Mm.
Like that's like scary. So like I said, I think this has the potential to be good in the long term. I think in the beginning it's going to be an absolute clusterfuck, but we'll see what happens.
I think it's the first move in Chrome OS dying.
I hope what happens is I hope Chrome OS doesn't die, because I think it has better underpinnings than Android does. I think it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot more stringent on.
I think it has different underpinnings, and I think like the cases that we've just discussed, that's what Chrome OS is for. However, those people aren't buying them.
Yeah.
They're not buying them. Your banks, your local authorities are not going out and buying 20,000 Chromebooks. Their contracts are with Dell, they're with HP, they're buying Windows machines because there's more money in it.
Like Mark said, the cost of the laptop might be $200-300. The cost of that data, there is no price. That data is literally priceless to these companies, because if you lose the trust of a customer, that's it. That's fine. You've lost that customer. They will go to someone else. But that means that data is again, once it's on the internet, it's always on the internet. That it's always there.
Yeah, and especially if you stop looking at things like medical records, which are we're slightly upset about, but how many times has defense contractors, the military, how many times have they lost laptops? The police, how many times do they lose laptops, lose USB sticks full of data?
Yeah. Anyway, that was Talking Tech episode. Actually, no, we've got some stuff to talk about. Bollocks. I've really got to stop swearing. Wow. So I believe either tomorrow or Wednesday, the BlackBerry Priv review is going up. TLDR or TLW or too long won't read. I really enjoyed it. But that's all I'm going to say. So you guys will have to go read that. I also have. Wow, I have TweetDeck turned up too loud and just deafened myself. That hurt. I also have the Huawei P9 and the BQ Aquaris X5 in for a review. I have the P9 is going back next week, which means that by the end of next working week, I should have the review up. Again, this is without a doubt Huawei's best phone. Like, the only thing wrong with it is EMUI, and even that has been substantially improved. That still doesn't mean it's great. Next up, I have... Oh, Tell Me More. My interview series with people in the industry about their place in the industry is getting its second episode tomorrow with no one other than Mr. Michael Fisher, ex-video producer for Pocket Now. He's moving on to Mobile Nations, I think in like the next week or so, and he has very kindly agreed to do an interview with me. So that's happening tomorrow at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, which I believe makes it 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Don't ask me what time zones I'm
Yeah, no, I
They
think
sound right.
yeah, like Eastern time's roughly 5 hours behind us, and Pacific time's 2 or 3 hours behind Eastern time. So that's happening tomorrow, and Chris has an action cam in for review.
Yes.
Chris, give me 30 seconds on this because I
So,
really need to go and eat.
knockoff GoPro, in one word, uses only thing different is the waterproof case, uses all the GoPro mounts, Wi-Fi so you can download the clips. What more can I say?
Absolutely nothing. Tell me how much it costs and do you like it?
About 60 quid, and I better like it because I actually brought it.
Well, there you go.
No, I do. On a serious note, I do actually like it. Yes, you may look like a dork with this sat on your helmet, but trust me, it's more fun. You kind of see car drivers go to pull out and just be absolute prats, and then all of a sudden they start behaving, and then you
Because they're on
suddenly
camera.
forget. You suddenly remember, oh wait, I have a camera on my head. I better behave myself.
Mark, have you got anything that is being reviewed this week?
There is a bunch of stuff. As to how much exactly I get through, well, we'll see. But one of the things that it will be these. I don't know
Which
how well
are?
These are the Mi Audio M6 Pros.
They look cool. So I remember you did the Mi Audio 6s a little while ago, and you
Yep.
seem to really enjoy those.
Yes, well, these are a little bit more expensive. They come in at $50. But to be honest, aside from the aesthetic similarities, I really don't understand why they have the M6 name, because they sound absolutely nothing like them.
Do they
These
sound
are-
better?
Oh yes, these are considerably better, but more importantly, these are much more monitor tuned.
So they're closer to being balanced, like
Yeah.
in-ear monitors, rather than
Oh
like
yes,
normal people.
yes,
I say normal people. I mean, when I say that, I mean like bass heavy, tuned for the masses, rather than
pretty much. The
perfectly
typical
balanced,
V-shaped.
like studio monitors.
Yeah, these are much flatter, very, very much more flat. Which is, they call them pro and monitor-like and whatnot. So yeah, but why share the M6?
I think I might have to get my hands on a set of those because I need a pair
Oh yeah,
I need a pair of monitors for when I'm doing voiceovers and stuff.
oh yeah, and the you can also get single-ended cables. So if you only want to be using one side.
Ooh. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, very clever. So that's coming. This
You said roughly about $50.
$50, yes.
And
And they will be coming to a UK retailer as well, although I don't off the top of my head know what price they will come in at.
I'm
estimate
assuming about 40 then.
that's what I'd guess, yeah. Another thing I have in, which it's like kind of feels like a bit of an 80s retro thing.
I was about to say they feel kind of Discman, or sorry, yeah. Well, I'm 90, so for me Discman, but it'd probably be like Walkman era headphones.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are ye old style on ears.
Again, like kids, ask your parents what a Walkman or a Discman is. And by kids I pretty much mean Chris.
I remember the Discman. I used to have one.
And if you're wondering, Chris, Walkman is the tape player.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, so these are from High Sound Audio, Google them. That company has the most amazing website ever.
Is that the one you sent us the other day that was just broken?
Oh yes, yes.
Like it was tremendous.
Its website, nothing works.
Yeah.
Like you would not look at it and think like this is a real company that has been in existence for years, right?
Oh, it's not a new company.
No.
Oh, I thought it was a.
No.
Well, I feel like a dick.
Yeah, no, they've been around for years, and their website has basically always been to the same high standard that it is right now.
Wow.
Can we high standard?
But these are quite kind of fun, interesting. It's a form factor you don't see every day.
There's a reason that form factor was retired, though, Mark.
Yes, there is, but just because when
they look very lightweight, though. They look very lightweight.
But and obviously they're very portable. If you do want to be out and you don't like things sticking in your ears. I mean, I personally find the lack of isolation that these give to be an issue. But, you know, if you actually don't want that for whatever reason, you know, you want to be able to hear things, then, you know, great. But they're, you know, they're fun, they're different. It's unusual. So I've got those, and I've got the thing that came in here
Which
on my
is
desk, which is another pair of earphones.
That case looks kind of cool.
yeah. Is it like suede or leather or?
It's not. It's actually like feels like kind of Hessian.
Can we have a look on the inside?
The inside.
This is where we find out. This is where we find out it's hemp.
It could well be, but the inside.
Whoa!
Yeah. It's
I like that. Is that like felt?
Yes.
That's like neon green felt?
It's a little. Yeah, pretty much.
Lime green felt on the inside
Yes.
of this. Oh, I like that. You can send me
visually,
those.
That's, you know, no.
What, just for the case?
Yeah, fuck the headphones.
They are pretty good, and I do have the earphones. At least one of them.
Oh, those look cool. They look very similar to Sennheiser's IE80s to me.
Really? No.
Yeah, like externally
And,
they look.
you know, I don't know if you can see the cable, but you know.
That is a thick cable.
Yeah, thick. You know, really quite heavy duty.
Yeah.
You know, mesh weave over it. You know, and there's the buds.
You can make a noose out of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Anything is a noose if you're brave enough, Chris.
So those are quite good, and as best I can find, they seem to retail for about mid-50s pounds.
They look a lot more expensive than that.
They do, and they kind of sound a bit more expensive as well. I'm pretty.
Are they also like very flatly tuned like the Mi Audios, or are they more consumer focused?
A little bit more consumer, not so much in the bass, but they are more what I describe as being sort of having a more of a W shaped sound signature, a bit more lively, a bit more dynamic. They have a bit of a spike in the uppers, but there's 3 drivers in each of these.
Ooh.
Yeah, dual balanced armature and dynamic for the low end.
Okay. Well, thank you for those. Thank you for everyone else that's decided to watch and or listen episode 22 of Talking Tech. Quick charge, cheap phones, and soldables. If it wasn't obvious, the soldables was for the eMMC chip in the Nexus 5. Ooh, you can get us at www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk. I am at mobile_dom. Chris is at chriswallace959. Mark is at mark2410, and the site is at mttfeed. I have lost our stuff, so I think on Facebook we are Mobile Tech Talk, Instagram Mobile Tech Talk UK, Facebook and Google Plus and YouTube, just search for Mobile Tech Talk. And lastly, our Patreon. If you patreon.com/Mobile Tech Talk. If you send us some money, we can make you some cool shit. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Bye bye.
I think Chris is tired. Goodbye all.
Hook and
And stop.